All right, everybody. So welcome back. We are going to be doing the second round. We showed everybody custom GTPs and ChatGTP. We went pretty extensively. We showed you guys how you can operate things through the phone. This is actually part two of the workshop. Today, we're going to go over the other two I would say, pretty large competitors that are kind of going with ChatGTP and how they're used differently. So today, we're going to go over Google Gemini and we're going to go over Anthropic, which is Claude AI. Now, the reason why these are so important, they both serve like different functions. And some of the stuff I'm going to show you today is actually pretty darn cool. A lot of things you're going to notice that these two do is they're a little bit more factual based. A lot of the ChatGTP stuff is more for the creative side. So for people that want to like write books and blogs, ads, I would say ChatGTP has a little bit more of a creative streak and it's a little bit better. We also have the ability of creating those custom GTP bots, which can make them do single things. But today you're going to find that Google Gemini and Claude are also pretty comparable. I actually prefer Claude for a lot of really cool things I'm going to show you today. Building apps, kind of having really dynamic and good, well-written copy. Copy meaning anything that goes on a page as far as words. Anytime that you have to do any kind of posts or whatever else. So today I'm going to show you the different functionalities of both and see how they all kind of work together and kind of get you just to have an understanding that they exist, they're out there, they're competing with OpenAI, which is ChatGTP, and they're doing a pretty good job. So today what we're going to do, we're going to start off with Gemini because Gemini happens to be a really cool one that I am really enjoying. And it's really simple. It has a lot of free stuff that you can do for your regular Gmail account. So for anybody out there that has a Gmail account, you have the ability to do this. It doesn't really cost anything. You do have Gemini Advanced that I'm going to show you today that has a couple of advanced features, but you can go through there. So I can't spell Gemini for the life of me, but I am going to just type in on Google search Google Gemini. Now, when you log in, you're automatically going to be logged in to whatever profile you're logged in for Google. You do need a Google profile. I'm going to go over the free one first, meaning the one that comes with your free Gmail. I don't have the advanced version on this. And as you can see, this is what you come up with. Now, the cool thing about Gemini, if you kind of didn't follow along, it does do a lot of really good things, right? So for the basic user, whether you're a person working for a corporate structure of any sort, whether you're an entrepreneur, or whether you're a person just trying to get, anything done that you want to just kind of speed things up. So for instance, I'm a very poor writer. I've always been a very poor writer. I have very, very bad writing skills. So a lot of this AI that comes along is to help me write better, or put my thoughts in an easy way that can write an email out for me with very little to no effort, and then I can go back in and adjusting. The other cool thing about a lot of these softwares is that all of them have voice dictation. So for instance, Google uses Google Voice, which is amazing. I'm going to show you a really cool AI that just came out that is blowing everybody's minds about all the cool things it could do on top of it. And it's run by Google, but it's in the experimental phase later on as we kind of go through this. But for instance, here we are. We logged into Google Gemini. Again, it's completely free. You don't have to do Google Gemini Advanced, which is the paid version. I'm going to show you some of the features that come with that. But for instance, if I came in here and I'm going to use the microphone, hit allow if you're in the browser. All right, we're going to delete that, obviously, because that's not what we want. So let's try it again. And I'm going to say, write an email to a potential client asking them for business. And I'm just going to let it go. As you can see, it runs a pretty basic email because I gave it very basic facts. If I come in here and I say, write a cover letter for a job position that I've been searching for a very long time, that is operations manager of a very large bank. In there, please mention my skill sets that I've had over 27 years of experience in banking and that I've been managing teams over 1,400 all the way to 2,000 people. And I've also had experiences dealing with large commercial clients and so forth and so on. Again, very blatant, but again, look at this. And it came up with a pretty significant professional letter. Now, normally back in the day, you didn't have this. You would just work on your letter on your own, probably send it to some person outside or farm it out. Or even if you were writing a resume, you can do all of this. Now, these are some very basic functions that you can do. So things like this are like, okay, well, that seems pretty simple. ChatGPT does and everything else. Here's where Google Gemini gets very, very cool. Make believe you wanted to plan a trip for, let's say, Italy, right? Or Portugal. We'll do Portugal because it's one of my favorite countries because obviously I'm from there. So I come in here and I go, I'm going to use the @ symbol. And as you can see, look at all the stuff that comes up. These are all the things that it has access to. So for anybody that's ever used Google Flights or Google Hotels or Google Maps or YouTube, watch how I'm going to chain a bunch of events in order to get what I want done. So if I come in here and I chain that I want to look up for Google Flights. So I'll chain Google Flights, cheap flights to Portugal for 2 in the month of October for 10 days. It will automatically search Google Flights for me. And here they are. Here's all the round trips and everything else. I found a few round trips and everything else. View all the options here. And look what it does. It actually creates a little table that's clickable that I now could go in there. Now I can say, find me hotels near Porto, because I know that that's what OPO is, that are high rated and we'll say high rated, great reviews, and near a lot of food. All right. Being very generic. And again, I'm doing this on purpose just to show you this. All right. And it gives you uh, a little bit of things in here, right? Hotel, elegant quarters, an upfront hotel featuring a rooftop bar with river views. Plus, this is great. So it gives you a little thing. And also it gives you the hotels and everything else. Then I could say, all right, I'm using my little thing right here. I can actually create Google Tasks of an itinerary that I can plan in there, but we won't go through itinerary just yet. I'll use Google Maps. Give me at least 10 restaurants near Porto that are highly rated and near the hotels. Right? That might be a little fetch, but let's see if we can figure it out, right? That, like I said, that might be a little bit much near hotels because I didn't really give it an hotel. Awesome. So it plots it out. I kind of see where it is. It kind of goes in here. It gives me my 4-star rating. So now I got my flights, I got my hotels, I got places to eat, but let's be a little bit more creative, right? Let's say plan my 10-day itinerary. Well, actually, you know what? Because I hate to spell, so let's be a little lazy. Plan my 10-day itinerary for Porto, Portugal during the month of October for 10 days. Make sure that each day has a lunch, a dinner at a great restaurant, and I'm only seeing one site per day. There we go. So it's going to leverage all this, and it's going to give you some possible things that you're going to do. It's going to tell me what to visit and everything else. And it's going in there, right? And notice how it kind of grouped it all together. And for dinner, here he goes. Take a day trip to Villa Nova Gaia, a charming town across the river. Visit Nova Gaia car. And it didn't have the, this is probably the cable car. Panoramic views for dinner, head there, a traditional. And I can even say, hey, you forgot to include lunch. I need lunch and dinner places to go to. Hit enter. Boom. There we go. We arrive. It kind of starts breaking everything down, and it starts giving me my whole itinerary to do. Now I can go further and keep applying all this and going through there. Now I can actually say, create a full task list. Oh, well, here, let's do it a little bit smart. If I do Google and I do tasks, now what it will do, I can either put it in a Google Doc or I can put it in a Google Tasks. I can say Google Tasks, create this 10-day itinerary, right? And I can even spell it wrong because that's what I'm going to do. Or I can just use the little voice thing here. Create a 10-day task list for this full itinerary. All right, there we go. Look at this. Now I got a task list. Now I go to my Google Tasks, add this to my tasks. My tasks starting, let's see, October, we'll just say October 1st. Let's see what I'll do. So it's going to go to my Google and it's going in there and it's going to start putting all these things in here for me to do. And if I go in here on my Google Tasks, it'll be in my Google Tasks. Yep. All right. So this is the whole pretty cool things. I understand you want me to create. Do you want me to create them now? And now I'm not going to go ahead and click on this because I don't want like 10 days of itinerary for stuff or something I'm really not doing. But you got to get the point. And if you're like, well, I want to get some information on this, I can just tap into YouTube and just say, can you find some related videos? Maybe I want to do some videos on Porto and visiting and everything else. Oh, I probably messed something up here. Or again, we can be not super easy. We come over here, YouTube, Porto, Portugal. I have yet to leave this AI in order to do so as you go through. So as you can see, it automatically pulls everything up, the views that have the most views and everything else, and I can actually just sort it and everything else. The cool thing that I could do is I can also share and export this, let's say, with my wife or with anybody that would be interested in this whole entire thing as we kind of go through. And you have more choices of like copying this, so forth, or you don't agree with it. This is a bad response and everything in that sense, right? And I can come back over here. I'm going to go to Google Docs and I'm going to say create a Google Doc with the pre-proposed itinerary. Okay. And hopefully it'll create a Google Doc that will have right now. Okay, so it doesn't allow me to access Google Drive on your behalf. So it doesn't have the ability just yet, but I can just copy and paste it. But what it can do is search any current Google Docs to see if I have anything about Portugal. So brings me to my second point that this one specifically allows us to do that. Any others don't. So if you click in here, right, we were just in a chat. And by the way, you can come in here and you can change what you said as far as anything there, any recent chats that you had, you can look over to the left-hand side. But the cool part about it is that on the free version, you can turn on extensions. Extensions are the things that we just saw. You can put in YouTube Music, you can Google Maps, YouTube, OpenStax, which receives passages from openly licensed textbooks, so textbooks that are free out in the world, where you can grab things that you maybe want to learn about a particular subject, and you have it all in here. Now, that is the really cool thing about this is that you can turn these on and off, but these are how the extensions work. The reason why extensions are important is make believe you did want to look for all your emails that have to do anything with Portugal, right? Because I have my extensions connected to my Gmail, and this is my free Gmail account, I can search my Gmail and I could say, look for any emails on Portugal. All right, let's see. I spelled it wrong, but again, the beauty of AI, it kind of predicts that because that's what a lot of these large language models do. And if you kind of heard my kind of spiel on this, the last workshop, this is something that you guys want to keep in mind. Now, the cool thing about this is it'll search your drive, it will search your email, and it will allow you to just basically find things, respond to things, and do things kind of around that method. The other cool thing that I'm going to show you is that this thing, yeah, see, here it is, travel information about Verizon's monthly plan, meetups, real estate, doing a lot of real estate stuff in there. So it has a lot, it finds it in there and it goes in there for everything that we want to do there. What's really cool is it gives me the dates and it lists the emails that it's pulling from. So then I don't have to go searching to my massive inbox to find all these emails that were related to that. And I can be very specific. Find the email on whatever. And the second I come in here, I click here, how is Portugal? And there you go. It has this whole thing and it goes right directly into my email. So again, really, really cool stuff as far as being able to retrieve even from your Google Drive. So for instance, I can come over here and go to Drive and I can pull one of my documents. So if I come in here and I go to Google Drive and I can even say, Portugal, anything Portugal. All right. And it'll search my Google Drive, find a document. And just like before, if I have anything that's listed there, it will automatically allow me to click on it and will go directly to my Google Drive. The reason why this is so impactful is you got to think of it like this. Whether you're running a business, whether you're doing anything that has to do with like constantly moving back and forth or just trying to use different things and always trying to find things, when this system gets very highly active and when it starts really connecting to your inbox, your drive, and everything else, and it starts understanding who you are, it does learn over time. And you can create very specific bots and transactions to do inside of here that's going to make it very easy for you to do. Now, what's crazy about this thing is, see, it has onboarding form. It has all these different things that you could do. But what's really, really cool is that this is only the personal side. There's a lot of functionality that's coming to the business side that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to get into some of the things you can do there. But here's some other things you can do. Now, for instance, if you asked it regular things, we talked about writing emails and everything else. This thing also understands like, statistics and charts and everything else. So I could say, pull up the latest, the current best dividend. You know what? Again, my spelling is so atrocious. I won't punish you people for listening. Pull the latest top 10 dividend paying stocks in the last 2 months. Yeah, it's going to give me a bunch of disclaimers. Yep. So forth. Um, yeah. Yes, provide, but it won't, I can't say best because it's trying to say I'm not a stockbroker and everything else. So we're just going to go from there. So we're going to say, yes, please, give me the best performing. All right, my bad. I try to make it into a provider. Awesome. Now, notice here it lists it, the dividend yield, and then exports to sheets. I can now, be a little bit more creative and say, create a chart that lists the top 20 best performing stocks over the last 3 years. Create uh, a variable that measures performance performance in performance decline to see if any of them are becoming bad. I don't know. Bad should have been the word. I put bass. Maybe it thinks it's a fish, but but you guys get the whole point. The whole thing is I want to use the statistics that this thing can do and can compute. And again, I haven't really given it any challenging things. I'm trying to make this really simplistic. So anybody using it can use it. And I'm still on the free version. I have yet touched anything paid. Awesome. And it goes 3-year return. And again, I can keep messing with this and being like, okay, is there a way that we can, maybe identify the ones that the current stock price. So maybe I could, okay, add current stock price. All right. So it could add to anything that might be missing. There you go. 3-year return, blah, 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 current stock price and everything else. And then I can keep going into there. Right. So the point of the matter is you can do a lot of this stuff while you're doing that. And it cannot be current. Like, again, a lot of the stuff that you're going to be pulling, it might not be pulling from the right stuff or from the right site. But again, it can give you a general idea that you can go back and research. And obviously, this is one of many things you can do. If you're researching, research the best dog type for people with newborns. looking for lovable and protective and great with kids. All right. Spelled a whole bunch of things wrong. Again, give a base. Look, here we go. Golden Retriever, Labrador, Newfoundland, Bernese Mountain Dog. Yeah, that thing's bananas. Smaller but mighty. Okay. So, and it gives you all these kind of things. And you can do that. The other thing that you can do is if we find, let's just see latest news, images. All right. We're not where we are going to stay completely out of politics. All right. That did not help out, but I could say artwork. What's really cool about this thing is this is all Amazon bought. Yeah, famous painting right there. Save image as. I go to downloads. I'm just going to go save this real quick. And I can come over here and I can say, upload an image. There we go. What is this painting? And it's going to give me so it can't say that it can definitively, but it is the Starry Night. But again, you see how intelligent it is. You can also give it a picture of a chart. So if I come in here and I say, let's say charts. All right. And I'm going to save this image right here. And I'm going to say, analyze this chart. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit the upload image. Come in here, hit the download, and it'll create an analysis of the chart. You see this? It's doing it all on its own. And I can even say, create a better chart. Let's see if it'll do it. If not, I'm going to show you a cool way to do it. There you go. And it gives you the idea of doing this. And I'm going to show you how we can do this a little bit later on. Now, this is all the free kind of things you can do. Again, I showed you how to basically, you can dictate, it can write whatever you want. You can start writing a book on here. It's telling you to edit for you. There's a lot of really cool things you can do on the personal level. You saw how to interconnect things as far as looking for your own things that it wants to find. Google Docs, Google Gmail, and I think Google Drive are the three things that can connect as far as reading. You saw how we interconnected Google Maps, YouTube, and did all those searches. But now let's go into Advanced Gemini and why this is important. So if I come over here and in here, I go to, let's say, my paid version of this, because I have a paid version of Gemini for my business, right? Now, what's really cool about the paid version is they introduced this new thing called Gems, very similar to ChatGPT. Gems is where basically you can program, you have this gem manager, and now you can program like instructions for the bot to do a specific thing, right? So for instance, it comes with a few, this is a brainstorm, find inspiration easily, fresh ideas for parties, gifts, whatever else. So we'll use one of them, right? The reason gems are a little bit kind of the direction where I think all AI is going to go is think of it like this. The more things you give one AI bot to do, the less likely it is to learn and get precise information for you. So if you watch my previous video on ChatGPTs and how you can create an army of bots, you can do the same thing here. But what I've learned in doing this for the last several years with AI is that the more specific you are and the more role specific the task is for the actual bot, the better and more quality results you're going to get. Now, for here, for instance, this is the brainstormer, so it's going to give me ideas on what to do. Help me create an itinerary for visiting Porto, Portugal in the month of October. Note that I am taking my wife and I'd like to fill it with some surprises for her. All right, and I'm going to come over here. Well, I said, cool. And see how quick it's doing this and it's going through. Now, okay, let's create an unforgettable October itinerary. Besides romantic element, are there any specific interests for your wife have? History, food. All right, so this is cool. Now it's interacting with me. Now, by the way, if you guys haven't understood this and I haven't clearly made this like kind of the big ideal that you have to follow through is the more conversation you are with any of the bots and any of the AIs, because it's a large language model, the more you feed it and the more you conversate with it, the more it's starting to adapt and learn to what you want it to do. So that's why having conversations with it will always yield you better results as you're giving it instructions and you don't like the output that it's giving you. This is great questions. So for instance, this is, we want moderate, travel, romantic, and we love food. Okay, awesome. So now it's going to do the same thing. Look at that. Day 1, 2, the romantic capital, blah, blah, surprise to the trip to the private sunset sail on Togus River. Look at this. It is like legitimately giving me, and it's giving me pictures and things to do. City of Bridges and Wine. Who doesn't like that, right? Bridges and wine. It's got to be a good combo, unless you fall off the bridge with the wine. But anyway, so all the really cool things that you're kind of going through. But the cool thing of it is that, again, that is its sole function. It is a brainstorming companion, or I call them assistants, that is going to be there ready for you. But what if you're like, well, I want one to do my ads, I want one to write my web pages, I want one to write my emails. You can create an assistant to do any of these things. So here, again, normally if you were an open AI, you would use chat GTPs and you can let other people do them. Here, you're going to use Gems, right? So if I'm going to come back up over to Gems, I'm going to go to Gem Manager on the left-hand side, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do New Gem. Now, here's what's cool about gems inside of, this also happens in ChatGTP, so I don't know if it's necessarily cool because this is the only place that does it, but I can give my gem the name, right? And I can just say, you are a Facebook ads copywriter. All right. And I'm going to, I put this as a role, but I'm going to copy this. Oop, let me do that again. I'm going to name this Facebook ads copywriter. All right, something like that. And then instructions are, you are a Facebook ads copywriter who writes engaging and converting copy for any niche. All right, what's cool about this is I'm just going to take this. I'm going to go over here to the instructions. And with the little prompt that I gave it, it will write out full instructions for me. I can also share with you that, wow, look, like it literally purpose, craft, engaging, converting ad copies, blah, 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 adapt writing styles and tone to match a specific target audience, deliver behavioral rules, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And now I've officially created my assistant that's going to write Facebook ads, right? Now, granted, you would want to give it a little bit more advanced instructions, like maybe having direct response copy and, maybe giving it a couple of examples inside this to kind of, just get the bot to be a very high performing. But you would come in here and this is something that you would do. Now you would come over here and you would enter prompts. So for instance, but believe it or not, you can hit save. I'm saving this gem. And now what you're going to notice is it's going to be here on the left-hand side. It's got an F on it. I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, notice you can pin it if you want this first, and I can come over here and then I can just say, write an ad for my dog grooming service called, I don't know, Fluffy Paws, I guess. Fluffy Paws. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And there you go. Now, the goal of it is that, again, you would work and keep on working with your agent, with your assistant to make it better and better and better as you're going through. And what's great about it is you can then, at any given point in time, leverage it whenever you're doing the set action. Now, again, Facebook ads might not interest you, but what if you're a person working in the corporate area that maybe you have to create presentations all the time, or maybe you have to analyze certain metrics? If I'm feeding this thing like a chart and it's coming back with the analysis and I'm saying, okay, great, but you don't sound like me. And I start putting in the key points that normally would sound like me to do it. I have now made my job tremendously easier, right? So there's a couple things here that you can click. Now, remember, in order to use gems, you need the paid service. And when you're using Google Workspace, which is like the paid version that you do for email. Google Drive's a professional. That's when you have a professional domain address. You can also call Gmail, Google Docs, and Google Drive at the most professional level you have, right? And again, it can grab and retrieve things. So for instance, if you're in your Gmail and you want to respond to one of your business email, it can write the response for you. And then again, you can build off of these things as you kind of go through. And you can have one agent that's literally the email responder. You know what I'm saying? Everything along this way is going to make it very easy for you in that sense. Now, if you're again a code guy, you're doing code, this is great where you can put all your coding work and have it check all your coding work to make sure that there's no mistakes. Or you can come in here and you could say, build a simple app with Python that a simple checklist app. Sorry, simple checklist app with Python. All right, because this is my code person. So let's go. App checklist, add new blah, blah, blah. And there you go. Now, what's great is you can run the code and it's got something, already that you can go through. You can also copy it and then put it through whatever app generating software, whether you use Visual Code or whatever else. Great for, checking code. Now I can tell you, previously when you used to write pages and pages of code and you made one error on like one semicolon on like line 3,991, it would take you days to try to figure out what the heck it is. With now, you can paste this into one of these things, and then all of a sudden, there you go. It helps you find the error. And you can even say, hey, why is this not working? And it can give you some information. Now, I found that uh, Gemini and Claude have some of the best ones for coding. You're gonna be blown away by some of the things with Claude, but it's really, really cool, and it's just something for you guys to check out. But what's really cool about Claude is it actually creates the app right then and there that you can send people to. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It actually creates presentations and all that other stuff, which again, really good on the Claude side, but it has some other limitations. You can't create gems for sorts. They have projects, it's a little different. But create an army of assistants. If you love Gemini, if you love Google, if you like using a lot of Google calendars and things like that, more and more is coming. So a lot of things are integrating. So just understand that this is a really good kind of addition to your workload with the whole point. It just reduces the workload, right? So you can add all these agents, they can do all these things for you, and it can make your life substantially easier in anything that you have to do, whether it's personal or professional. It's a win no matter what. All right. The other thing I wanted to show you, and this is really cool. It just came out. Um, this is called NotebookLM, and it's made by Google, and it's incredibly experimental, but it's got a lot of really cool features. It introduces Google Voice AI, but this is like not like any AI that I've at least ever seen. And what's really cool about this one is that you can give it sources, it will search the sources, and it will basically create a conversation like it's a podcast, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to do one with you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and yours will look a little bit differently. And for everybody trying to go in, if you just type in Notebook LM, Google, and like 2 words on your search here. So if I go back to my all and I type in Google uh, LM Notebook, or sorry, Notebook LM, and then Google, you're going to notice that this thing comes up right now. Again, it's completely free. It's in the experimental stage, but it is really, really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to give it a website. So actually, I think I already have this one there. So all I did was I gave it a website to my, hold on, nope, that's not what I want to do. All right, let's just delete those notes real quick. All right, so view chat. I gave it a website earlier on, but what I wanted to show you guys when you're brand new. All right, I'm going to give it a website, any website, right? I'll give it one of my websites that our VIP program that we're coaching people on. So let me just go and grab that real quick. And what it does is I'm going to show you the website, and just by the website and nothing else, what it did is it created a conversation, which I thought was really cool. So if you're going to come over here, and again, it does table of context, it does a brief for people that are working on white papers or anything else in that kind of format. It does a lot of really cool things. But for instance, I found that this was really refreshing that it did this just basically off of a website. So I pasted in my website, I come in and insert, and here's all the things it gives me. Like, what do you want to do? FAQ, a study guide, a table of context, a timeline, a briefing doc, and everything else. And I come in here and I hit load. Uh, and what it'll do, it's going to create a podcast like conversation that is going to be basically describing the site. Now, remember, the reason why I want you to tell you guys this, that it's so informative, is that the fact that this entire thing is sharing the audio and it completely, both audios, this is all AI. And the conversation it's going to have in this audio is very conversational. It has humor, it has scarcity, it has controversial, like kind of a suggestion to it. So I'm going to stop my share for 1 second and I'm going to share, I have to share my audio, I believe. Yeah, computer audio. And I'm going to see if I can just play the audio real quick. So hold on 1 second.
Ever get that feeling like you find this amazing tool that could totally change the game for your business, but then you try to actually use it and it's just overwhelming?
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah, today we're doing a deep dive on something that says it can fix that. For Go High Level users, it's called Automated Marketers VIP Access Program.
Okay, interesting.
We've got articles, reviews, even some testimonials all about it. So we'll see if it lives up to the hype or if it's just another expensive.
Now, I got to be honest, that is AI. You guys got to try this on your own. You're going to be blown away by some of the results. Now, remember, all I did, if we go back to our screen here, all I did was basically add the website. And then from the website, I clicked on generate conversation and it did that. Now, I can tell you, I can also do table of contents, study guide, a timeline, and FAQ, and it will save the response and kind of build it on its own. The reason why this is so dynamic is that imagine being able to literally have a bunch of blog posts, let's say 100 blog posts, feed it into this machine, and then look, it even created a whole FAQ document that I now can put into my webpage and I can sell it even better because now I have a better FAQ document than I probably had before. But imagine having a conversation or a podcast created that automatically goes off of the website. Now, it's funny, we've done this with bios, like people's bios, and they talk about people like it's you. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do. Put in your LinkedIn page, take the bio from the LinkedIn page and see how people talk about it. It's just really dynamic and it's really cool. What is insane about this particular dynamic that Google is going after is that it is giving the voices personalities and the voices are interacting off each other. Not really. I mean, it's all done in the back end and the bots kind of created that conversation together, making sure that it's one. But the fact that it's creating like, is this really live up to the hype? And it's using that kind of language. It's using tactics from well-known podcasts to then create something podcast wise that will be able to basically create this interaction between two humans. And the fact that it's acting a lot of this emotions, people laugh. The AI that they generate will laugh at a joke or sound surprised or I really don't think that's going to work. Like we'll actually like do all of that. And the fact that it's come this far is pretty dynamic. It's probably one of the best kind of uses of AI where it's that intelligent that is beyond impressive. And like I said, I've never seen anything like it. It's still in the experimental stages, but if you guys want to access it, it's notebooklm.google.com. Feel free to go in through it. It is absolutely amazing, but it is definitely one of the ones that I'm going to be playing with. And whenever they sell this, I'm going to definitely be buying it because that to me is this creates another avenue that I can promote something some way that I don't have the time to do. I don't have the time to record 100 blog posts and make them into podcasts, but apparently there's a tool out there that will be. So that kind of wraps up Gemini in general. We're going to get into now this is probably by far one of my top ones right now, and that's Claude. Now, Claude, let me just kind of get over here for you guys. Claude is pretty darn cool. So if I come over here, we're going to go with Claude. As long as I can spell Claude AI. Ever since I became the best speller, ever since GTP has come out. Um, cool. So from here, um, everything you go from here, this is Claude AI. Now, I have the paid version. Claude is made by Anthropic. Now, Claude to me probably has one of the better copywriting abilities of any AI right now, at least in my opinion. I think how it writes and what it writes is really, really good. And I got to be honest, it goes back and forth between ChatGPT and the new models and this model, and it goes back and forth. The game changer for me when it came to Claude was when they introduced projects and artifacts, and primarily artifacts. Now, artifacts, I believe now anybody can use, but let's just go over some really cool things that anybody can do that is available on the free version, I believe. Now, I could tell you that I hit the limits on this pretty quickly, even as a project holder, because I use it so often. So we're going to see how far I can get in Claude. But let's talk about artifacts and what it means. So I'm going to say, please write an application in React and CSS. The reason I say this is because React and CSS are two programs that are based on the internet. And it's just something that it's just something that again, like I just learned that if you put this, it just creates the app directly on the website. So then you can interact it on the website instead of actually going to a coding platform and having to really code, right? So I'm going to say, please write an application in React and CSS that calculates BMI. Also, have the app based on those calculations present a 3-day workout plan. Okay. I should say create instead of please create. I always say please, you don't have to, but I don't know if I like being polite to the bots. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and go through some of the steps and it's going to break it down. But notice what's just happened on the right-hand side. It is physically coding the actual app that we wanted to go through, and it's giving some suggestions based on whatever it is. Now, the cool part about this is that look what it came in, right? So, like for instance, it gave me white in centimeters and kilograms. We're not in Europe, so change this to pounds and feet. All right. So now it's going to go back and rewrite the code. Awesome. And then we're going to play it out. Now, what's really cool about this is some of the things that it can do, right? So, and again, you would be able to elaborate on this. You could grow it bigger. You can make this a 7-part app. The fact that you can now make apps as a normal human being is insane. Like, and I mean a normal human being because I think coding is very hard. So, for instance, I'm going to put 160, right? 160, 5 feet, 5 inches, or 5 feet, 4 inches, right? Boom. Your BMI is 27.5 and everything else. Now, the cool thing about this is, and this is what a lot of people don't know, if I want to come over here and I hit publish, copy and publish, I can take this link, paste it. All right, show content. And now I have this here so somebody can actually view it and operate with it and do whatever it is. The other cool thing it is for everybody that is using like a high level WordPress or whatever it is, if I'm using a high level, all right, and I wanted to put this into a site, so I'm just going to go to one of our sites here, and this will work on any platform online that has a code element. And a code element is just something you can kind of drag in, right? So I'm just going to go to lead magnets right here, and can't break anything or else my partner will kill me. But for instance, I'm just going to add it to the bottom of this thank you page, just giving you an idea what it looks like. I come in here, and like I said, WordPress has this, High Level has this, Kajabi, a lot of like the different programs have out this, so it's very indifferent which one you use. I go find the code element, anything that allows me to add code to the page. And what I'll do is I'll open the code editor, come in here into Claude Artifacts, grab the code, which is the code section right here on the top right-hand side. I'm going to copy this whole thing, drop it into any code element on any website, hit save, go over here, hit, oh, save again, and then we're going to hit publish. And here it is, very ugly like, again, because we didn't cover with CSS, but you can show it on the page and everything else, and you can select your values, do whatever you got to do, and then it'll calculate the plan and shoot it out. Now, I probably did something wrong somewhere where it's, yeah, oh, that's why. Yeah, it's doing a lot of imports and stuff like that because it's using React, but I can change this so it's straight CSS and it can go directly on the page. But long story short, the fact that you can even use it is a big deal because you have the ability of doing this, right? Now, here's where like, well, that's kind of cute, really. Like, how can I use that if I'm like working in the corporate world and I'm not a programmer? Well, how about this? How about I take one of those charts, right? So charts, let's get an image. All right. Come over here. Let's copy this image. And I'm going to say, create an interactive chart based interactive chart with React and CSS. Oop. Based on the image provided. Okay, come over here, grab that chart image. Oh, I don't know what it says. Attach higher resolution. Okay, for better results. Let's just see what it can do, right? I mean, I just looked at the first thing that we have. But this is what's cool. Now, the reason why this is important. All right, and it should give me a preview anytime soon. There you go. But you see what I could do? I could come in here, I could sort through it, and it did this all based on an image. Now, what if you have like a very long PDF and you don't want to read it? Create an interactive guide for the following PDF. This is amazing, guys. By the way, this one alone, I think it's worth the wait. It's weight in gold because I don't know about you, but like sometimes I get these PDFs or these like 40-page documents, and man, learning on those things when you got to read that whole thing is really tough. So what if I create an interactive guide for the following PDF? I'll use one of my buddy's books, bestseller. I think it's in here somewhere. I hope it's in here somewhere. Maybe not. My Lord, I might not even have it. I might deleted it. So, wish we had a long PDF. Let's just go. I don't know. I'm just gonna go. This is Laurel, but I don't want to use this because I get permission. But it's just for the sample, and I'll take it down. I'm not going to share with anybody, right? But this is going to again create a guide for the following PDF. Awesome. I'll just probably give this to her. I'm like, look what I made for you. But obviously we won't copy any of the code. But basically, I took a document that she incredibly wrote, and it's amazing. It's one of her, she's one of our coaches. She just comes up with these crazy ideas, and she's amazing at what she does. But again, I want to see if I can create like an interactive guide where I can act with it and then get something in return. Now, notice it is writing a significant, I think this document's about like 40 pages long. But what it's doing is it's creating an interactive guide, which then I can leverage to learn whatever I got to do, right? So look at this. Overview. Fast funnel strategy, help potential clients identify their problem quickly. I go to step 1. All right, this is step 1. I go to step 2. Now it's got step 2. Set up your $5 ad, choose basic, blah, blah, blah. Step 3, and I think I got a little check mark that I can do. Look, and when I check, it automatically says completed 1 out of 4. How cool is that? I took a document, I asked it for it to create an interactive guide, and then I could say, okay, add quizzes. So then, to this guy. All right. And remember, the cool part about it is I can publish it and I can access this at any given time inside a website. So now it's writing the code to create interactive guides that will basically take any subject matter, whatever you guys are trying to study and do, and make it in an interactive way based on the content provided. Now, Again, granted, I'm doing this very quickly and I'm doing it in a way that is simple for everybody to do. What did I do so far? All I did was ask it very simplistic questions to give me very what I thought was simplest results. As you could see, it gave me a little interactive guide instead of reading this 40-page document that's going to go over these details. But now I asked it to, okay, great, but now add quizzes so then I can learn a little bit faster, right? And the thing of it is that the fact that I can publish this and put it somewhere that I can interact with it is a massive game changer. For people back in the day, whenever you were doing, let's say somebody was like trying to get loans out, this would be something that would be a little bit more difficult. Now, for instance, here we go. Let's go to step one. I don't know where they added the quiz. Oh, okay. So, or overview maybe? Okay, step one. Okay, so questions. Here's the quiz. So if I take the quiz, look at this. And I hit submit quiz, it scores 1 out of 2. So it's telling me it's wrong. All I did was give it a document. Now, the crazy thing about this is like, somebody's asking, can it work with Flutter? I have no idea. The reason is because this is writing in whatever code that it knows. And the reason why I use React and CSS, those are two code platforms that are able to make it an interactive thing, like I just showed you before, without leveraging like coding platforms to make the app go up. For instance, this, in all intents and purposes, is completely up. Meaning if I take this and I publish it, which I'm not going to do here, but if I take this and I publish it, I now can send it, like I can now interact with it on my own and do whatever I need to do with it. With the whole point being is that you can take a person that knows nothing of coding, tell them that, hey, I want to develop a quick little app to do whatever it is, and here you go. The other thing that I've done is I've fed it like for instance, Go High Level, or big components of it, we're affiliates for it. We fed Go High Level all the API documentation for Go High Level into one of these things. And we asked for an interactive guide that will help us build the API. That is bananas. So not only does it help build us the API, it has the entire knowledge base. So what we can do is we can then basically write code based on that, and we can create apps for that particular system and anything that we do. So what do I mean by that? Because I said a lot of very big words altogether, right? So we showed you how it can write app. It can code. It can do a lot of crazy things. Our features that we like the most is that it can summarize and everything else. If you have the paid version, you can do what's called projects. So for instance, I'm going to create a project. I'm going to go high level API creator. This, by the way, guys, it's worth the weight in gold. So here it's you are going your role, right? Let's be very specific, because in a project, what am I trying to achieve? Your role is to help build and teach people how to leverage Go High Level please use reference guides. And I'll show you what I mean by that. All right. Let's check our spelling a little bit. Create a project. Now that I create a project, I have set up instructions and I can add content. I can go to Go High Level API. Come over here. I believe it's this one. I'm not mistaken. Yeah, look at this. So I can be crazy and copy this whole thing, right? So make believe I go here, copy it, go to Claude, add content, API docs. Boom. And I could go as far as I want and everything else. I probably do it a little bit neater than this, but I just want to give you an example and hit add content. Now it has the API docs, and here I could set up instructions. You are an expert API coder. I don't even know what it's called, right? You specialize in Go High Level API, and your goal is to create API connections and apps. All right. And then from here, I can save those instructions and I can go right at it inside of here and I can build this out. So when I have this, I can share this with Andy or my business partner, and him and I can go in here and we're trying to figure out an API and we maybe just don't know the sequence for it, or maybe we don't know the actual custom value for it. We can come in here, ask the questions. It'll have all the API documentations, and then I will get this thing to basically write the API for me. So all I have to do is take it out and plug it in when I'm ready to do so. But this is some of the projects that you guys can leverage inside of here. As you can see, we have tons of stuff in here. We've created like snake games, BMI calculators, strategy chess. Like, it's insane. Like, some of the cool things you can create, and you can use JavaScript. You can use a bunch of these codes, but you literally can create these assistants, these particular projects inside of Claude, which works a little bit different. Again, Claude is really good when it comes to the coding aspect because you have this artifact area and you can create interactive charts. You could take PDFs and make interactive guides. You can code straight from basically anything just by giving an idea for an app, and you can go back and forth with it with creating this. Now, I sometimes am not kidding around. I will sometimes use all these three in conjunction with each other and in parallel, meaning I will have, like, let's say Google write instructions for Claude doing the coding, putting it back on Google to verify the coding is correct and getting a different opinion. And then sometimes I'll use ChatGPT to do the same. So the reason why this is important is because this is the direction that these bots are going, and that literally any person out there, regardless of your skill set, can now do other things based on that. I just went recently to Portugal with my wife. My wife can't speak Portuguese. I created a Portuguese translator bot that lives on her phone to ChatGPT. If you want to see how I made that, I literally did it live, and we did it on the previous call before instead of our YouTube channel. And you can literally see me using it, that now she can access it on their phone while she's driving, while she's doing everything, and she can actually speak into it, all based on some of these GTPs and these items that we create. So the thing that you need to keep focused on is, one, pick any one of these. I have all three. Don't need to have all three, but in the business that we're in, we need all three because we activate and literally use all these threes at all given times. They help us write our newsletter. They help us write apps for our different kind of clients that we serve. They help us write, blog posts. They help us write teaching briefs. They help us touch like some of our YouTube channel content that we have to put out and ideas. So what I'm telling you, have a slew of agents that are readily available for you at any given time. You can create these agents and then activate them and use them as often as you need. Projects within Claude, gems with Gemini, and custom GTPs with OpenAI and ChatGTP. And each one of them, as you can see, has different things that you can do there. So I hope this was informative. I hope you guys learned a lot in this sessions. I hope you took away something. I hope all of you are picking one of these and creating some assistance for yourselves to make your jobs and lives a whole lot easier. People that are working full-time jobs in the corporate world, you're gonna love this thing because it will help you write your emails. It will help you analyze your metrics. It will help you analyze like your PowerPoints to see whether they're quality or not and where you can improve on them. It'll help you write speeches if you got to go in front of a board. For people that are in the entrepreneurial space, you now have an army of like AI that can basically build and do these things for you so you can generate cash and do the things that you need to, even if it's on a part-time basis, because now you have additional help that back in the day would cost you a fortune to do half of the stuff that we just showed here today. And now you have it literally at the access of your fingertips in order to do so. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one, and we'll talk to you all soon.